The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The number of Filipinos getting routine immunization has dropped in 2020 due to the coronavirus pandemic. To give us more updates on the government's pandemic response as well as other vaccine-related matters, we have Greg Gregorio joining us on the line. Greg, happy Monday. So aside from the risk of getting COVID-19, what were some of the reasons given as to why less Filipinos got vaccinated in general last year?
Yes, Charles, according to the Department of Health, aside from the challenge that we are facing amid the COVID-19 pandemic, there are parents who are afraid or scared to be exposed to possible infection while bringing their children to the vaccination sites. But the Department of Health is saying that all we have to do is just to follow minimum public health standards, because it is still important to have their children vaccinated or for their children to receive this routine immunization for us to prevent the possible outbreak of these vaccine preventable diseases in the coming years. And aside from that, the Department of Health is also admitting that there is a problem on the number of vaccinators, because as we are also having an ongoing immunization against COVID-19, we are having the same set of cadres of health workers doing the inoculation of this routine immunization as well as for the COVID-19 immunization. According to Health Undersecretary Vergere, this is why the government is continuing its hiring for healthcare workers, and they're also tapping private sector for them to help in this endeavor. Charles?
All right, Greg, just to clarify a few things, I understand that health authorities are encountering some of the same issues as with the vaccination for COVID-19. But right now, do we have enough storage for generic vaccines and COVID-19 vaccines in the country?
Yes, Charles, that question was asked earlier to Health Undersecretary Vergere, and she gave assurance that the country has no problem when it comes to storage capacity for multiple types of vaccines. As Vergere explained, the government has made sure that there is a separate storage for those vaccines used for the routine immunization, as well as for the vaccines that we are going to use or that we are using for this COVID-19 immunization. Charles?
All right, Greg, so how do health authorities intend to launch other vaccination campaigns amid the difficulties encountered during this pandemic?
Charles, earlier what Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere mentioned is that they are calling for parents to bring their children or have their children vaccinated. Recall that there are local government units, especially health workers on the ground, going house to house for the routine immunization, and they are reminding everyone to keep reminded on the schedule of immunizations on their locality. Charles?
All right, Greg, let's talk about the government's pandemic response. How did the DOH expand the country's ICU bed capacity for COVID-19 patients?
Charles, what, as an example mentioned by Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere earlier, there are isolation units in Tala Hospital in Caloocan that has been transformed into ICU beds. This is to further respond to the critical utilization rate of the ICU beds, especially in the National Capital Region. According to Vergere, over the weekend, there has been a more than 10% drop of the ICU utilization from 81% on Saturday and to the 71% ICU utilization as reported on Sunday. But according to Vergere, the government is still working on how to further expand our healthcare capacity. Charles?
Thanks for those updates, Greg. Once again, that was Greg Gregorio. A medical expert calls for more transparency in the reporting of COVID-19 data to avoid more transmissions and for a more effective system of vaccine distribution. Speaking on One News' agenda, the Medical City Chairman, Eki Gonzalez, said there's a problem with the Health Department's system of reporting COVID-19 infections, citing delays in recording severe or critical cases. He also said that the agency must clean up its data and report it transparently. And Gonzalez noted that the DOH must also provide regular updates on COVID-19 cases in Metro Manila and other LGUs to find out which areas the government should focus its vaccination efforts on. The expert added that better transparency will allow independent research groups, such as Octa, to provide a better assessment of the COVID-19 response and to come up with better solutions amid the rising number of transmissions.
There is a system. Apparently, they clean up the data maybe every week in terms of the laboratory reporting. But how does one explain 200,000 active cases going down to 100,000 or less in 1 week? How is it possible to do that? Is it just statistical, or are there actual reports for this thing happening? It's very hard to do suggestions if you don't have full transparency in terms of reporting. And if you do better reporting, then you can refocus your efforts on certain categories, on certain geographical areas that need more help.
The Environment Department is eyeing to impose fines on a vessel spewing wastewater into Manila Bay. The agency said the ship could face fines ranging from 10,000 to 200,000 pesos per day. The DENr also explained that discharging of wastewater into the sea or other bodies of water is not allowed without a permit and without following procedures under the Clean Water Act. Over the weekend, a vlogger reported the presence of yellowish liquid waste near the Manila Yacht Club in Manila Bay. Based on the initial investigation, liquid waste that came from the cooling system of the MV Sarangani possibly seeped into the sea, and the DENr has conducted a sample of the water for testing, with results expected by tomorrow. Chinese vessels remain sailing across parts of the West Philippine Sea. That's despite receiving appeals from the international community, including America and the European Union. In an interview with Radyo 5, maritime law expert Batongbacal said the Philippine government should not be swayed by Chinese forces, since it is evident that international law is on our side.
Siyempre po, expected naman yan kasi nga pinipilit nila na yung buong South China Sea sa kanila. So, kumbaga hindi naman yan unexpected. Kailangan lang po, tuloy lang po rin tayo sa ating paninindigan nga, sa ating mga karapatan. Kasi yung kanilang claim nga na yan, napatunayan naman sa arbitral tribunal na wala naman pong visa talaga.
However, the maritime law expert pointed out that President Duterte's stance on the matter is crucial for our protests to have any weight against China.
Ang lalabas nun magiging unified itong Southeast Asian countries, no? Yung Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines, kulang na lang Malaysia. Kasi po pag nag-unify po yan, medyo atras po ang China. Yun po ayaw niya kasi talagang mangyari. Na ang lahat ng mga ito na maliliit bansa sa paligid na ay talagang magkaisa. So pag nagbago po yung tono ng presidente, mapapaisip din talaga ang China na teka muna, masyado na yata nating tinutulak ito kumbaga magbabackfire na.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us again later at 1 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.